Mason, and with me is Mary Brotherton, and we host All Things Books and Publishing. It has been a very busy 2.5 weeks. First of all, I talked about this some on my live this morning. I got this email from a gentleman named Chris Habosky. And at first I'm thinking, something's not quite right because the antenna went up and I'm going, okay, is this somebody that's trying to spam us, that's trying to do something nefarious? But actually it turned out that my friend over on the west coast of Florida deals with this group all the time. Chris runs a Equi Solutions, and Equi Solutions is an equestrian barn. It's a nonprofit, and they work with businesses, they work with traumatized children, they work with people with PTSD to help folks learn how to adjust, to work as a group, to heal from trauma. And what he asked was if Midnight Publishing would be willing to mentor some of their volunteers who is helping his wife Darlene Williams with the book she's written. And this book teaches parents how to deal with children who have been trafficked, who have been abused, who have been traumatized in some way. And I told him, I said, we will do one better. We will edit, format, and publish this book for you and do the cover. Well, they were ecstatic. So we are moving forward with this project. To me, this is another God wink moment because never in a million years would I have ever had reason to communicate or reach out to these folks. God does things in His time, and I don't know where this is going. All I know is that if Mary and I don't jump on this, God may not be happy with us. Am I right, Mary?
Absolutely. And this is something that I've learned as a writer, and just in general. When God gives me an idea for like Ramonda's extended warranty, that's because Ramonda came to me specifically and talked to me. But that's not to say that that idea wasn't given to 1,000 other writers. Some, they might change the name, they might change everything on it, but still the idea of telling the story from the donor family's perspective is very important. And if I didn't jump on that immediately, then somebody else was going to take that idea out of the universe and they were going to create something magical that I would miss out on. My father was notorious for coming up with ideas, but because he didn't have a lot of money to invest on implementing those ideas, somebody else always invented things before he did. And that taught me, if you get an idea, jump on it. And because of you, I mean, I had this idea a week ago. I don't say this to brag, folks. I really don't. Most of the books that I've been putting out have been on my computer for years and years and years. But when a spirit comes to you and tells you, hey, wake up, we have work to do, you can flip back over, go to sleep, and let somebody else take your idea, or you can wake up and go to work. And that's what I did. I spent 2 days working on this book. It's short. It's not a big, monstrous book.
32
but
pages.
It's got a gigantic story.
And it's a powerful story. And what we did, ladies and gentlemen, is we did it in the old fashioned graphic novel way. And when you go, what? Okay. If you go back and you read some of the novels that were published in the early 1900s. Those would have been graphic novels. And what the publisher did is they put pictures within the book. Alice in Wonderland is a prime example. Some of Poe's books are a prime example. They put pictures within the book. So we, instead of making a graphic novel and it looked like a comic book with the bubbles up over the head, Mary wrote the story and we interjected graphics within the novel. The book is only 32 pages long, but it is packed with so much power and so strong a story. It didn't need to be any longer. It is a novel, it is fiction. However, it is
And it's
based.
made,
Go ahead.
it's based on reality, but I wrote it so that other teenagers can pick it up and go, whoa, this is about a girl my age.
Exactly. It's a quick read.
And to see how special Ramonda was. It's a tribute to the family, but it's also a lesson about organ donation.
It, very much so. And the importance of organ donation. When we lost Ramonda, I told my daughter, I said, we had her for 13 years. When God created her, he created her with a purpose. Because God knew that there was a child that was coming that would need a viable heart. So Ramonda's life, while short in our eyes, was not short at all. It was long enough. Some folks don't even get to hold that.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Some people don't even get to hold that little baby. We not only got to hold her, she got to impact a lot of people before and after her death. So this book will be released on Amazon on November the 30th. I'm months ahead of myself. It will be released in time for the season of giving. And I encourage everyone to buy it for yourself, for others, for your children, because this book is filled with so much strength and love and unselfishness and power. And Mary did a beautiful job bringing the story to life. Thank you, Mary, so much. I'm forever in your debt for that. It was not even on her radar.
Well, no, it was not. I had to stop everything. I know that a lot of people kind of poo-poo the idea of talking to dead people, or they think you're just crazy. And I won't deny that I am a little crazy, but I will tell you, whether it's your characters in a fiction novel or an actual live spirit of a deceased one, when you get those messages in your head, and you've heard Yvonne say the voices won't shut up, you have to just go with the flow and get it done.
Because if you don't, they won't shut up.
Will have serious repercussions.
Serious repercussions. I want to circle back around to this nonprofit organization, because that's going to segue into something else. When these people first approached me, the first two questions I asked were, are you willing to trust the process? And are you willing to trust me? In this business, it is very important that you trust the process. Well, they came back with a resounding yes. I mean, it was yes all the way across the email almost, that they trusted the process and they trusted me. In this business, and I know I can't say this enough until it gets in folks' head, I've been in this business for 20 years. I was in this business when this business was considered lower than people. indie authors were looked way down on. They were not read. They were laughed at. They were maligned. They were, oh, so you're self-published. You're not good enough for one of the big six. I'm still here. A lot of people are not. There are a few of us that are still here and we're still writing because we broke that stigma of, oh, you're self published, you're not good enough for the big six. Yeah, we're still here. So I saw the morphing of indie authors. The first books I published was on Lulu, and that is a royal pain. A royal pain. And then Amazon said, okay, well, we're missing out. And when my publisher died, again, a God moment, we're here today. So when I ask, and I'm not asking frivolously, I'm dead serious. Mary will tell you I'm serious as a heart attack. When I ask, are you going to trust the process and are you going to trust me? And you tell me, yes, I take you at your word. But when you start questioning everything that I do, I am about ready to cut it off and say, go find somebody else because we are getting so busy. I am not going to babysit people that say, yeah, I trust the process and then try to second guess the process. It's not how we have to work here. Am I right?
Yeah,
Lily?
but
Yeah, but.
you are so right. And you know, people do the yeah, but. Yeah, I trust you, but could you just change this one little thing? I had somebody one time ask me, could you take the eyes from the image on page 4 and put those kinds of eyes on the image on page 48? No. And you wouldn't ask a fine artist who paints or does watercolors or uses pencil and you know, pen and ink or whatever. You wouldn't ask them to change the image. I mean, what has happened is Yvonne works fast because Yvonne doesn't sleep.
True.
I don't know how she survives. She hardly eats. She hardly sleeps. She subsists on puppy dog tails and coffee. But she does what she does because she doesn't have anybody else to answer to. There's nobody saying, well, could you make me supper? Or would you come look at this. I mean, yesterday, God knows I love my husband. And God knows, yesterday I was talking with Yvonne on the phone, going over a book, or 2 or 3, and my husband comes in and he stands on the other side. Yvonne couldn't see him, we were on the phone. But he stands on the other side of the computer with that little boy look on his face. Like, I got a frog in my pocket. I just have to show it to you. So I said, Yvonne, hold on a minute. What's the what, Curtis? I got a joke. Can I say it now? I said, hold on, Yvonne. Curtis wants to tell us a joke. So he read this joke on his phone. It was cute. It was funny. We both laughed. But, and I don't care if you live in a house with your mother, your brothers and sisters, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. I don't care what your relationship is, even if it's a college roommate. They are going to have demands that might not feel like demands. I mean, that, like, Curtis didn't look like he was going to explode if I didn't let him share that joke, but there are times that someone else is going to need attention. Yvonne is fortunate in the fact that she lives alone. And I know that there are pros and cons to that. But as far as her work with Midnight Publishing, we benefit. The authors benefit from her insomnia or whatever. And I want to say quick about trusting the process. I might not be so quick, I'm sorry. Because, y'all, I'm not gonna say I'm cured, but I'm less of a control freak than I was 2 months ago. I'm less of a micromanager, and I'm more of a trust the process, release it, let it go. I had somebody, and I know that some of you know that I once managed a not-for-profit, and it would have a magazine. So what, and people, I allowed people, I didn't make assignments and say, oh, you must write this story my way. I wanted everybody to be different. So somebody wrote something, actually he wrote it on Facebook, and I asked him, could I snag that and use it in the magazine? Well, he was delighted because that actually at that point made him a published author. And it was about letting go. And I remember this often when somebody says, well, Mary, you just need to let go and trust the process. What he had written was, when you take your garbage out to the street for pickup, or if you live in a rural area and you have to take your garbage to the landfill, it doesn't matter. You put something in the trash, and you don't go back and dig through that trash, except on very rare occasions. But you don't go back through that trash and pick up the piece that you threw away and look at it and go, I'm not ready to throw you away yet. And especially if you put it out for pickup by the garbage truck. You put it out, you put the can on the street, and you come home back in the house and put your feet up or whatever. You're not going to go out at 3 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night, open up your garbage bin, pull out that piece of trash and go, I have to hold on to this a little bit longer. I'm not ready to let go. You put your trash in the trash and you let it be trash. And Yvonne kept telling me, Mary, you've just got to let it go. You've got to trust the process. I have, and I know this is true for other writers. I can't be the only person who feels this way. When I write the words, like I wrote, if I could be a butterfly, a dragon, a giant, a mermaid. I wrote those books because the words were burning in my head. I needed to get them out. But while I'm writing it, I'm imagining, oh, do this and do that, and the mermaid this, and the giant, and all these things in my head. But writing is not illustrating. Writing is not creating the images. With my mermaid book, I tried a jillion ways. I tried AI. I tried painting. I tried just drawing outlines. I even tried to hire somebody. Nothing clicked for me. Nothing worked. Nothing. I got like 3/4 of the way through with my drawings, and then I stopped for whatever reason. So I was telling Yvonne 2 months ago, all I have to do is finish these drawings, and then I can give you my mermaid book. And she said, why don't you just give me the book and let me illustrate it? And my thought was, no, I've already done so much work on it. No, you might not do it the way I envision it. No, I can't. This little whiny girl came out. And Yvonne said, well, do it or don't. I don't care. But if you want me to do it, I'm happy to do these images for you. Y'all don't know what that book did to my heart when I first saw it. The eyes on the cover, and then she started doing videos. That made me super happy because they're just adorable. Within 4 weeks, I'm pretty sure I've got my timing right. I sent Yvonne 6 books of varying lengths. And almost all of them had been on my computer. I think there were two. Too Many Rules.
Grandfather book,
I forget the other one. Sharks.
Sharks.
Sharks Bite, Writers Write. Those were two relatively new. I'll say within a year I started writing those books. Everything else was on my computer and had been for more than 10 years. One had been on my computer for 35. And within 1 month, 30 days, 4 weeks, Yvonne had turned all 6 of those into beautiful children's books. If I didn't already trust the process, I do now. And I understand how hard it is for most writers to just release it and say, let it go. And not go back to the garbage can and keep checking on it. Don't give your manuscript to Yvonne and then email her, how's it going? You got to give her a minute. Don't email your manuscript to Yvonne and then say, oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, I really would like it if you could make the images this way. And if Yvonne feels the need, especially with children's books, and this was something that she and I had a long conversation about, we both believe in making the books as diverse as possible. But there are times that the images speak to the publisher in a different way. And I will tell you, I am tunnel vision. We get this little tunnel and we think, okay, this is what my book needs to look like. It must look like this. And Yvonne's over there going, no. How many of us, especially children's writers, we want our books to be like the little golden books with a cardboard cover. They don't make them like that anymore unless you pay extra. And you can pay extra, trust me. We want to have the happy meal of books. You get a book and you get a prize. Why isn't the book a prize enough? And we want to give a gimmick. We want to make sure that there's... At Cocoa Village, we saw this. Almost every children's book author had a table full of what I will call tchotchkes. They had stuffed animals you could buy. They had 3D printed animals you could buy. One woman had crocheted animals you could buy. You can always buy, but why not sell your books? Why are you reselling someone else's work? So there are times that it's good to have these additional items, but with Midnight Publishing, if you will just trust the process, trust Yvonne to not, she'll take your little tunnel and she'll expand it, because she has been in the industry, she's been in the business, and even before she became the publisher at Midnight Publishing, and before she was an indie author, she was in business. From the time you were, what, 5?
5,
You were
yep.
answering your father's business phone for him?
Yep.
So she's been doing marketing all her life. And if you can't trust the process, trust Yvonne.
And
The
also,
not-for-profit that reached out to you, who said, yes, we trust you. That's partly because of the person who recommended her.
true.
They trust that person. so, if you don't know Yvonne, but you know me, trust me. I mean, she's never, in the 20 some years I've known her, has never steered me wrong.
In fact, when Mary was getting ready to start her nonprofit, she called me and said, "This is what I want to do." And one of the questions that I ask, which I also ask people that say, "Oh, I want to write a book," my one of my first questions is, "How hungry are you?" And you may go, "What do you mean, how hungry are you? How bad do you want this? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to make this happen?" And if you get a "yeah, but," that tells me you're not in 150%. You're only in maybe 80%. Mary just went black on me.
I came back.
She came back. So the thing you have to understand is there has to be a hunger there. There can't just be, "Oh, I'm thinking about writing a book." Well, we all know about intentions. That's the way the road to hell is paved, is with good intentions. There's an old saying in an old Star Wars movie that I say regularly, and so does Mary. Mary told Luke Skywalker when he was training Luke Skywalker to be a warrior, and Luke Skywalker kept saying, "I'm trying," and Yoda says, "Do or do not." There is no try, because trying is not a commitment. When you say, "I'm not going to," that's a commitment. When you say, "I'm doing it," that's a commitment. When you say, "I'm trying," you're sitting on a fence. And it's like I told Mary last night, the only thing you're going to get on that fence is splinters in your butt. That's it. So when someone hands me their book, understand I treat that book like I would treat someone's trust with me with their child. And people that know me know that I tease about putting children in a pot with vegetables because that's my sense of humor. But I will never allow a child to be hurt, to be misused, to be abused, or to be upset in any way. I may discipline them, because without discipline, children just run awry. And that is the same with books. When you hand me that manuscript, I will protect that manuscript, but understand that there is a whole wide world of people out there. What you see in your tunnel vision, which is about this big, is not marketable. We have to follow the trends. We have to see what people are reading, what people are interested in, how to market a book to a mass audience. A, adults for their children and for their grandchildren and for their friends' children, and B, to the children, especially in children's books. Children have to be able to relate to a book. And I'm going to tell you something else. When I read the Dick and Jane series in first grade, I wanted to pitch it out the window, and I was 6 years old. It's boring. See Dick and Jane, run Dick, run Jane, run Dick and see Spot? No, thank you. Our children are so advanced now because they start school almost by the time they start walking. So when they are in pre-K and in kindergarten, they're already reading on a second or third grade level. You have to be able to keep their interest. And this is what I have to tell people. The graphics have to be right. And as a professional photographer, I'm going to tell you, you send me a graphic that will not pixelate or that looks like something out of a third world country, it's not going in that book. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you like it. I don't care how much you love it. It is not going in that book because I would not put it in my own book. It's just the way it is. I'm very persnickety about, because not only is it your book, it's my reputation that's on the line. And if I'm not going to put it in something that I would put in my book, I'm certainly not going to put it in yours. So ask yourself, how hungry are you? Are you willing to trust the process? Or are we going to fight from now until hell freezes over? Because if we are, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I have to get tough, because Mary and I talked last night. And both of our guts say that probably this time next year we'll be up to 100 authors. And each one will get attention individually, but I cannot spend 6 months.
Individual.
That word. But I cannot spend 6 months going back and forth with an author that refuses to budge. And no other publisher will do that either. If you don't want to trust the process, then maybe you need to go somewhere else. Am I right, Mary?
You're 100% right. And I can tell you, when you finally, if you get a big six publisher, by the time they're ready to lay that book out, it's gone. Well, first of all, it can take up to a year, sometimes longer, to get a book out, because you send this book and it goes through typically a committee, and they have to decide, okay, well, we've committed, we're going to do this, but what if we change the title? And some authors are really stuck on their titles. What if we rename the main character? We don't like his name or her name. Oh, that's heartbreaking sometimes. In fact, I had to do that with Steep Steps. Not because of a publisher, but because of my husband. He was my last editor, basically. So he's looking at the book and he goes, "Oh, you cannot have this person named that." I'm like, "Why not?" To me, it was just a name. I thought it sounded good. Well, he explained in very intense details why I couldn't name this character the way I did. And I'm not going to get into it. It's very personal, actually. But if you want to know more, email me and I'll tell you in an email. But once I changed the name, the character actually came to life. He looked, sounded, and acted differently than he did with the first name that I gave him. There is power in what we name our characters. And there are certain reasons that characters are named the way they are. But if you're working with a big six publisher, or even with Midnight Publishing. And now with Midnight, you're going to get your book done quickly because Yvonne expects you to have done your work prior to sending it to her. But a lot of people send a very rough draft to their publisher. Goes through this committee, they make all these changes, then they start editing. Now the author has last say, but some of these editors can be very persuasive. That's the word. And they convince you that their way is better because after all, they are the editor. But that doesn't mean they know what's best for your book. And so maybe after a year of fighting back and forth and discussing all these piticky questions and changes, you might be ready to publish it. And you can't go back to that publisher at that point in the game and say, "Oh, I don't like it this way. Can we change so and so?" That's part of the process. That's their process. Yvonne's process is much faster turnaround. But that doesn't mean that you can disregard her expertise or that you can try to. I'm trying to be nice here, folks. I bog down when I'm trying to be nice. If I can just say the words,
just say it.
Come out.
Because this is
But
where we are right now.
Don't try to bully Yvonne because that's not going to land well at all.
Ooh.
And don't try to convince her that your ideas are better than hers. All she wants from you is for you to write the words. If it's a book that, well, it's gonna require a cover illustrator, but if it's gonna require any illustrations inside the book, that's something that Yvonne will take care of. If you've got the illustrations, they have to meet her expectations, because these aren't just Yvonne's expectations and requirements. She's not saying, no, I'm not going to use your picture because I want to put mine in. It's a matter of what will carry your book farther. Amazon won't allow anything under a certain resolution. And that's, I'm taking notes today for our future classes. As I think
they
about
also
right
have
words.
they have
Anyway,
for children's books, they also have specific what they call bleed lines. And if you are outside of that bleed line, they will kick it back every time. And what the direction that Midnight
I spent a year trying to make it do what I wanted it to do. Because dagnabbit, I'm in charge. I'm in control. I don't let go. I don't give up. I am tenacious, and by God, I am Mary. You must listen to me. I am she who must be obeyed.
And how well did that work out?
Amazon just laughed. It worked out extremely well, because after a year of fighting, I gave the files to Yvonne, and Yvonne had never done a children's book up to that point. She read the instructions. She paid attention to what it said. Within, I want to say it was 12 hours, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say 24 hours after I gave her that file and everything she needed, the book was up on Amazon. Took me a year, and I still didn't get it.
It's all in the details.
Blah, blah, blah.
The direction that we have now gone with children's books is the KISS method. And the KISS method in business is keep it simple, stupid. Children's books don't need all of this elaborate background graphics. Children don't care. All children want is a graphic they can relate to. And so, because the children's books we print are 8.5 by 8.5, when I get the graphics or I do the graphics, I have to go in and I have to reconfigure the image to an 8.5 by 8.5 inch graphic. I save it. I do this for everything, even the ones that I do. Once I put that graphic in that book and I bring the wording up that matches that graphic, it will change the size of that graphic automatically. It won't be 8.5 by 8.5. It's not going to be a perfect square, simply because it has to accommodate the sentence and the graphic. So when I get an email saying, well, I made my graphics a 1 inch by 1 inch, I have to explain to that author, that's all well and good. But when I get it, I have to reconfigure it, because I'm not going to spend a month trying to fix the graphics to fit the book, to fit Amazon's guidelines. I know their guidelines. I understand they're not guidelines. They're hard and fast requirements. If I don't do what they've asked me to do, then it's not going to happen. So when Mary gets her children's books, or my other children's authors get their children's book, and it's not a perfect square, don't come back at me saying, oh, but I did this, because I will explain to you, this is the process. This is what works. This is how it works. This has been proven over and over again, and we're not changing it because it isn't broken. So if you're anal about a perfect square, keep the graphics out of your book. Just saying.
Yep.
It's the way it works in this industry. Everything is not perfect in this world. Even books are not executed perfectly because we are human and because there are different dynamics. A children's book may have one line underneath the graphic. It may have two lines because it fits that graphic. When I do their children's books, I try to put a graphic with every line or every other line. Sometimes it's four lines because it goes with that graphic. When I am doing graphics for the books, I study that book. That book is on my mind all the time. That's why one of the reasons that I quit sleeping, because I see things from the words. The vision of Midnight Publishing is not tunnel vision. It is, how can we draw in the market? How can we stand out instead of blend in? We started the trend of using realistic graphics because the trend is the same dull illustration, one dimensional in the books. I see it over and over again. I talked with Mary and I said, you understand that by us doing what we're doing, we have become trendsetters. People are going to see these books, and pretty soon you're going to see more and more books in the marketplace that are similar. Because
Yep.
when we were in Cocoa Village, we had people looking through our books astounded. They thought they were photographs. And I said, oh, this looks like so-and-so, and this looks like so-and-so, and oh, this looks like so-and-so's grandfather. And that is because we try to be as realistic as possible. We want to engage that child and that parent and that friend to be able to say, I can relate to this graphic. It's not some one-dimensional flat graphic. It pops with the words. Am I right, Mary?
It does. And we actually had adults buying the books, and we would ask them, who do we, because I always like to personalize a book when I sign it. Who would you like for me to sign this to? Me? What? You're not buying this for your grandchild or your niece or anybody? No, this is for me. Adults love these books too.
And it's because they
Because
speak.
there's message. Yeah.
When Mary
messages in the books and the images.
When Mary sent me Too Many Rules, we knew that it was going to be a stranger danger. It's very subtle. It never talks about stranger danger. We market it as stranger danger. There's only one in-your-face picture about stranger danger, and that is on purpose. And I told Mary, I said, this is non-negotiable, and there's a reason for this. And she understood, because the front end of the book and the back end of the book pulls that one graphic into perspective. When she sent me If I Could Be a Giant, as I'm reading this, I'm going, wait a minute. If a child is being bullied by an adult, by a peer, by anybody, and they read this little book, they can understand that it doesn't matter if they're bigger than the rest of the world. They can stop the bullying just by being strong within themselves and understanding they are already a giant. Mary had never seen that in that book. So I said, this is the way we're going to promote this book, as an anti-bullying book. And it never talks about anti-bullying, does it, Mary? We never.
No, there's not a word about bullying in it. But when you read the book and put the images together, you make the connection. And then you want to sit down and have a conversation with your children.
I am working on a book now that's going to go out.
Why.
Go ahead.
That's a what?
To explain why. The it's an
No,
anti.
I was,
I'm working on a
well,
book.
because the images carry.
Go ahead, finish your sentence. I know there's a delay.
There's a little lag here, so it's a little difficult. No, all I'm saying is the images carry the story. And, like that one of the little boy that starts out, if I was a giant, nobody could make me cry. Well, why is he crying, Mommy?
Exactly.
And then Mom can open up the conversation about him having been bullied.
And it's also got the opposite of, if a child is doing the bullying, the child can see the effect of what happens when they are bullies, or even an adult. Adults can be bullies too. I've seen it. Adults are, and that's how children
Oh,
learn
yes.
that that bullying is okay, is they see adults do it. And this may also give adults pause to think. We're working on a book now with a different author, and it's called The Real Gift. And when I started working on the book, as I was putting the graphics with it, I told the author, so the way we're going to promote this is every child is enough. Think about that one for a minute. Children sometimes grow up believing they're not enough. They don't make up their bed right, they don't do their work in school right, the teachers don't think that they're smart enough, the parent doesn't think that they're behave enough. You're being bad today. That is such a negative content. A child is not good or bad. A child is a child. Their behavior may be good or bad, but a child is not good or bad. So this little book called The Real Gift teaches a child that they are the gift. And in reality, children are gifts. They are loaned to us by God. And when we don't treat those children like the precious gifts that they are, serious things can happen. If somebody gives you a piece of crystal or a painting that's worth millions of dollars, you're not going to do anything to that art object to tarnish it, to make it less than it's worth, to break it so it can never be repaired, to destroy it, because it's worth something. It's worth its weight in gold. The same thing with a child. A child is priceless. They're not like puppy dogs. You can't just shovel one off and go get another one. That's not the way children work. When a child leaves, for whatever reason, there's a hole that can never be replaced. And believe me, I know this from personal experience. We have to treat, and the children are our future, so we have to treat our children like they are that priceless object. And this book explains that a child is enough, and for a child to be told you'll never be enough is wrong. Your thoughts, Miss Mary?
Oh, my thoughts echo yours because, it's that kind of brings me back though to something else I want to talk about. And we can go into more of this when we talk about manuscripts, because the the author of The Real Gift at first just had an idea, and she sent us the idea and expected us to turn it into a book. And I said, no, I need words, and if I have to write the words, then I'm going to put my name on the book.
Exactly.
But she came up with the words and turned it into magic. It was, and she's writing another book that's so cute. I'm excited for this one, but I'm not going to give away the secret till we're ready. But no, this little book talks about how precious each child is, and sometimes we have to dig down to the bottom of the box and find it, or we have to remove certain issues. Like you take the tissue paper out of a box. You have to remove issues to get to the beautiful child beneath the emotions.
And again, the graphics enhance the story. The graphics are 3D, I want to say in your face, but not in a bad way. Any child can look at these pictures while the story is being read, or even while they're reading the story, and relate to the graphics. Sometimes children have anger issues we don't know about for whatever reason. Maybe they have vision problems and we don't know about it. Maybe they can't hear and we don't know about it. It was something from birth that never got found. Once that issue is resolved, that takes away the anger issue. Maybe they have emotional problems from some trauma that has not yet been resolved. Maybe they are missing someone that has died and they don't understand all of the inner turmoil that is going on inside of them. That's where you can have a conversation from this book, The Real Gift. Children are not handed to us in the hospital with a book of instructions. It just doesn't happen. It's trial and error, and first-time parents sometimes have a harder time. By the time you get to the third or fourth kid, it's pretty much stress-free, except that every child is different. Well, I know. My son was easy. My two daughters, not so much. One of them didn't sleep, like their mother. I don't know where she got it, but to be able to sit down with these children and read and engage with them with these books, and this is why I am a proponent of taking away the electronic devices that are cheap babysitters and giving our children books. As a child matures, they will understand what they read way back when they were a little kid. Dr. Seuss was forever in our house because Dr. Seuss covered a plethora of issues that people didn't really think were issues until later. The Grinch That Stole Christmas. It's not just a fun book by Dr. Seuss. It is about acceptance. It is about accepting someone who's different from us, being able to see beyond the exterior and looking at the interior. It is about someone who loves someone, and because they were made fun of, they didn't know that love was reciprocated until years later. There's so many messages in that story that we tend to forget it's not just a story. The same thing with our children's books. There's always a message there. Right, Mary?
Yeah. And I guess I'm the queen of writing messages, hidden messages. Sally's Heart's about kindness. If I Could books are about imagination while being grounded. And then of course If I Could Be a Giant has that added component of anti-bullying. Too Many Rules talks about how many rules parents have to have and why so many. Every time I turn around, and sometimes children only worry about what I don't like, but this book teaches them that every rule has a reason, and it's to protect the child. It's all about protecting the child. The World's Best Grandfather looks like a bunch of fun, kind of a cross-world cultural trip, but the bottom line is the best grandfather's mine. He belongs to me, because that's how grandchildren think. And I wanted to mention the prize, the real gift. That would make such a wonderful gift for a child's birthday.
Absolutely.
And even an adult's birthday.
Yep.
I mean, how many high school graduates got a copy of Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Places You Will Go?
You were right.
So there's no reason to say, oh, this is a children's book, I can't give it to so and so. If the message speaks to you for a person, believe that they need to read that message. When I first wrote The World's Best Grandfathers, I thought I was writing it for the grandchildren. But it's really a great gift for grandpas and grandfathers and pop-pops and poppies and whatever you call your grandfather. It probably would be a better gift for the grandfather than for the grandchildren, because then the grandpa's going to want to read it. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas was written for children. How many families read it as part of their Christmas tradition now?
Every year. So the bottom line is Midnight Publishing's vision for our quote unquote children's authors is not a tunnel vision. It is a marketing vision for the masses. And when you do that, you give yourself permission for two things. You give yourself permission to let go and let the process work. You give yourself permission to trust the process. And you give yourself permission to allow that book to soar and to go to places that other houses have not thought about. We are visionaries here in so many ways. When we talk to people, they say, well, what is your blah, blah, blah? Honey, we got no blah, blah, blah. And I know that's a double negative, but there's a point to be made here. And that point is, we do not restrict ourselves to a certain arena. We knock down all the fences. We knock down all the boxes because we do not want to blend in. And this is what I ask people. Are you married to this cover? Are you married to this graphic? Do you want to stand out or do you want to blend in? Because if you want to blend in, please take it somewhere else, because my psychic refuses to blend in. It is like, in my world, wearing pink or white. I would spontaneously combust if I wore those colors.
And here I sit with all the colors.
And it's the same with blending in this publishing world. If we are going to make an impact in the market and the trends, we have to be willing to throw off the blinders. We have to be willing to not only dip our toes into uncharted waters, but dive in head first. Because if you don't at least try it, you will never know if it works or not. To fail is to not have tried. To succeed is to have put it out there and seen if it works. If it doesn't work, then take it to a different level. Correct?
Yes, and we talked about that yesterday. And Yvonne and I are planning a lunch where we're going to talk more.
Yeah.
We're always talking, we're always discussing books and publishing and all the nuances. Nobody that I know of is out there making those 7-second shorts that are getting worldwide attention. More than 17,000 views.
107,000.
And they've only been out for a couple of weeks. Oh,
117.
excuse me.
We're working.
So every book is getting attention. And I know, oh, this is another thing. Oh, I actually have this idea on my list. Um, the minute that you put your email address out there for the world to see, or you connect an email to your Facebook page or other social media, the sharks start swimming. They smell new indie author. Ooh, this person must have a lot of money because and if they don't, it doesn't matter, I'm going to take it anyway. They start sending you emails and telling you, hey, your book, I found your book on Amazon, and I noticed it doesn't have very many reviews. You don't have much traction. I can help you. I will market your book for you. Oh, thank you very much. My publisher already does that. Well, then I will make a short trailer for you. Oh, my publisher does that too. Well, then I'll make a longer trailer for you. Guess what my publisher does? Now, she hasn't gotten everybody's everything yet because she's trying to make sure everybody has a little piece of the pie. But at Midnight Publishing, we get our if you make a post about your books, Yvonne is going to take it and weaponize it. She's going to turn it into a video. She's going to she's going to do something to make it pop and make other people know. Or she might just share it exactly as it is. And this is something else that we do here at Midnight Publishing. Almost all of the authors who are very active share one another's posts. We don't always do, and I will tell you, I am guilty of me first and me only sometimes. But I do try to share, especially if I see that, like, Andrea is on a radio show, or Sherry got an award, or Gwendolyn's stuff was picked up in Ireland, or whatever. If I see that they're doing something that's really noteworthy, I will share that. And they share my stuff. So that means our reach is expanding. It's not just me talking to myself anymore.
Because everybody has different people on their social media. And there she goes writing again. Bless her. I don't know what we're going to do with the girl. But, and Mary's right.
Well, I'm working on our curriculum. I get a thought and I have to put it down.
And Mary is right. When our authors here share each other's works, everybody has different people on their social media. So Mary puts something up about her books. Gwendolyn picks it up and shares it on her page. And then Sherry shares it on her page. Andrea shares it on her page. You've got 3 different tentacles that have stretched out to at least 3,000 more people. And this is why I tell everyone, subscribe to the website, which is midnight-publishing.org. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Yvonne Mason and Midnight Publishing. And share it. Those little 7-second videos are powerful. And they're just 7 seconds. They're not 3-minute trailers. People will not sit and watch a 3-minute trailer. I guarantee they will barely watch a 1-minute trailer. Because their attention span is so short from electronic devices. 7 seconds is about all they will watch. So I cram as much into that as I can. I let them know if the book's out, when it's coming out, who wrote it, and the title of the book. And I've been putting them up now for maybe 3 weeks, and we have, as of yesterday, over 117,000 plus views. Every time I put one up on the YouTube channel, I put it over on the website. It also goes up on the Midnight Publishing page. And Mary will say, Yvonne, you're killing me because she can't keep up.
But all she's doing is taking what I've already done and made it exponentially better. But, you know, we can't all have insomnia.
Sure, we can. It's real easy. Sleep is overrated. Sleep is very overrated. So, I guess our bottom line here is as of this month, and I did not realize it until Gwendolyn put a post up yesterday that on November the 30th of last year, her book, September's Chill, went live. It did not dawn on me that I've been doing the publishing house for a year already, over a year, because I started it, I opened it up in June of last year, and I spent an entire week at my condo in Daytona working on a book that just about drove me crazy because I was still learning Amazon's process. And when I figured it out, it clicked. So we've been in this business almost 2 years, Mary. 2 years in June.
No way.
Yes. 2 years in June. This
And I just joined you in August.
in August, and look how far you came. It it's a God thing. I know
I
this.
cannot believe.
Yep. Be 2 years in June of 26
No,
that this
no doubt in my mind.
that we have been doing this. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, it has grown slowly, which was the right thing to do because there was a learning curve on my part. I put my books up, I put Peggy Engler's books up, Andrea sent me her books. So I used all of those books to hone my craft. And then other people started filtering in. And now we have this nonprofit. I don't know where we'll wind up with this thing. The journey's going to be so much fun. If you have not gone over to equinesolutions.com, do. If you've not gone over to anxietyfreeme.com, go over there. And if you haven't gone over to Darlene Williams, she is a clinical psychologist, and she helps people heal from trauma, both emotional, physical, psychologically. She helps them heal from that. And this Equi Solutions teaches people how to work as a group. When I read this morning, they even have businesses that send their people over to Equi Solutions to role play and to learn how to work as a group. I've had horses. I owned horses. They
The
are
team building. That's cool.
Yep,
Where are they located?
over on the West Coast, either in Sarasota or Clearwater, I think. But I owned horses.
Okay.
And owning horses is not a hobby, nor is it a part-time job.
No.
When you own horses, it's a 24/7 dedication. They have to be shod. They have to have their shots. They have to be worked. They have to be fed. Their stalls have to be mucked. And you're going, well, how do you muck a stall? Okay, when you muck a stall, that means you take all the horse poop and the straw out of the barn, put it over in the compost pile, and lay down fresh. Because if you don't keep that stall clean, then their hooves get rotting hooves. It ruins their feet. If you don't work a horse, then that horse thinks it's wild again. So, and horses like discipline, and I don't mean beating them. I never hit my horses. Horses, they want to please you. They're smart. They're very, very
No,
smart. Extremely smart horses. But this is what Equi Solutions does is they teach people how to work as a team at this horse barn that has all of these horses. They also teach children how to trust the process because these
that
horses
is so important.
these horses trust these children. These horses somehow know that these children are traumatized, and they're very gentle with these children. So again, this came in God's time, and where we go with this will be a God moment too. I call it a God wink moment. In fact, I told Chris in my email to him that this
Oh,
was a God wink
absolutely.
moment. And that's all we're asking here is that all of you, when you say, Yvonne, will you take my manuscript and publish it, that you, I'm back to this again, trust, don't tell me you're going to trust the process and then try to second guess me. And not only will you have me putting my head in my hands, you will have me looking for something to throat punch. Because if I tell someone I trust them, I trust them. And I have a mantra that if somebody is more experienced at something than I am, I acquiesce to their experience. I don't try to second guess them. I don't try to tell him how to do it because they are the expert. We are the experts here. Mary and I both learned by trial and error over many, many years. Mary will tell you she was going to publish her books her way.
Oh, yes.
She was going to send them to a private printer. And yeah. And how many books have you got left, honey?
I was going to find an agent. I would still be searching. I would still be wondering and waiting. And we talked about this earlier. If you go with a mainstream publisher, whether it's one of the big six or one of the smaller 20, you send them your manuscript and they will tell you, we'll have your book ready for you in about 18 months. If I send a manuscript to Yvonne and I don't have it within 18 days, I'm calling the ambulance. I'm doing a health check on her because something's wrong. It's more like 18 hours, depending on the book. Some take a little longer. And when she's backlogged, she's got 3 or 4 authors who keep sending her stuff, then that's going to, and I know at the beginning of the year you're getting a lot more people that are working on stuff now. So depending on the situation, it might take a little longer. But she put 6 of my books out in 1 month. That's not even one a week. That's one about every 4.5 days. You can't put a price on somebody who is doing God's work. And you might wonder, how is writing a book God's work? Well, I'll tell you. Yvonne made the comment more than once that we have been instructed to serve the Lord. And there are many ways. That doesn't mean you have to go to church and become a preacher. Doesn't mean you have to be in the church pew praying the whole time. Doesn't mean that you have to start a charity or work on a charity or volunteer at a food bank. Yvonne is serving by doing what she does for free. I am serving by being here to help any way that I can and lighten her load just a little bit. But I cannot stress this enough. When you trust the process, then you don't have to doubt the process. When you let it go and give it over, it's such a liberation. I wouldn't have, even though I had these books done, completed, just needed tweaking or formatting or whatever, it still takes a minute. But to do 6 in 1 month is mind-boggling even for me. And then when I get books like Ramonda's Extended Warranty that just pops up out of the blue and in 2 days is done, that puts a hold on what I've got working on. But I've sent her 1,000 words. I'm getting ready to send her From a Balcony. And then I can, those are the 2 most completed books. And then I've got others that I need to just throw together or revise or whatever. And I forgot what my train of thought was going. I think my train got derailed. I get excited.
She does. What she's saying is, if she had
It's just so important to trust.
Finish your thought there, Mary.
If I was doing it all myself, I'd still be doing it all myself. And I would have 1, maybe 2 new books out since August. But because of Yvonne, I've got 6, no, since August actually, I've got 13. Ramonda's will be 13 books. And then 1,000 words will be 14. How long ago was August? September, October, November?
3 months, 4 months.
3 months. 12 books. Blows my mind and boggles. I'm telling y'all, I have to look in the mirror some days and go, yeah, you are still Mary. You feel like a best-selling author.
And that's the attitude that all of the
I know what a
authors
best-selling author feels like.
Yeah, exactly. That's the attitude that all of you should take, because I don't care if you sell 1 book, 20 books, or 100 books. You are a best-selling author. And I'm going to tell you how best-selling authors come to be. When the Big 6 send out their new releases to the bookstores that are going bye-bye, they send a list of new releases, and they ask the managers of those stores to pick their favorite books. That's where your best-selling author list comes from. It's not how many books you sell, ladies and gentlemen. It is an attitude within your heart. It is an attitude
Absolutely.
of, I am enough. I do good work. I create good work. I am enough. If you sell 1 book or 50 in my book, you have succeeded. But if you come to me and say, I want to write but, or I'm going to trust you but, that's not the attitude of a best-selling author. That is the attitude of, I am putting conditions on this, and if you don't meet those conditions, then I'm not going to be happy. I got nothing. Because do you want to be right in your mind, or do you want to see your book be successful? And being successful means coming from this to going to this. Step out of the box. When you say, well, this jumped out at me, my question is, but will it jump out to a reader? Will that graphic jump out to a child? Will that graphic translate back on the printed page? Because the children's books are printed on glossy paper. And if a graphic isn't, the graphic on your computer or on your phone, and I get those all the time. Oh, this would make a great book cover from my phone. No, it won't. One day we're going to do a lesson in pixelization. You have to understand that what you see on your computer, what you see on your phone, does not always translate to the printed page. because the pixelizations are different. Camera phones are just that. They're camera phones. And Mary and I, both as professional photographers, will tell
Yep.
you it will not translate because it is not a camera. It's a phone that pretends to be a camera and pretends to be a computer because there's not enough room in that phone for them to put what they need to make it a camera. Correct?
Correct.
So please don't send me pictures from your phone. Oh, this will make a great cover. Oh, this will make a great graphic. No, I will tell you flat up, no. Because when I have to pull it up and
Oh,
I have
no,
to
no, no, no.
manipulate it, and especially if I have to do a Kindle cover, Kindle covers have to be stretched with pixelization. They have to be stretched 625 pixels wide and 1,000 pixels tall. And it looks like the cover has been changed. It has not. It's the pixelization because it has to fit on an electronic device. So when you send me something, oh, this will make a great cover. No, because once I stretch it, it's distorted. So just let Midnight Publishing do what we do. And just send me your manuscripts. Let us make magic. Because that's what we do. Now, you want to talk real quick about our plans for next year as we're getting towards the end of the year and our online workshops that we're planning? You want to give them a little brief sneak peek?
Yeah, we have to work out all the details, which is why we're meeting next week for lunch, and we like to eat. But we're going to, and that's what I've been writing over here. I've been working on a list of possible classes. But we want to have, right now, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe once a month we'll have a class online. It'll be free to talk to writers about some of the things you need to know about publishing your book. Starting with what is a manuscript. You know, it's not an idea jotted down on a napkin, you take a picture of it and send it to us. It's not an outline. We'll talk in detail about how to make a manuscript and how to self-edit that manuscript, and whether or not you need an actual editor. There's all kinds of things that go into the making of a manuscript. We're going to talk about marketing your books and why Midnight Publishing is so phenomenal at what it does. We're going to talk about trusting the process and what it means to follow your publisher's guidelines and how important that is. We're going to talk about scammers and spammers. And we'll talk about some of the things we've talked about briefly here. We're just going to take it apart and drill down into it, talking about the images and the resolution, and also agents and other publishers, not in a derogatory way, but just our experiences. And we will encourage the people who join our little meeting online to participate in that conversation, share their stories and their good and bad stories about agents and publishers.
And ask questions.
And possible scams. Absolutely, we want people to ask questions. And we want to make sure that everybody goes away feeling that they got something of value from spending time with us. And why do we have to do this? I mean, what does that have to do with publishing? It's nothing, but it's part of our philosophy of serving. It's part of our way of giving back and paying forward at the same time. We just want to help other writers feel the joy that comes from holding their book. And I know that a lot of people think for me having almost 15 books out that joy would have abated by now. But every book is my baby. Every time I hold a new one, I get so giddy and so excited. One of the reasons that we're doing what we do with the beginning of the year online classes is we've found that a lot of writers who reach out to us don't understand a lot of these things that we talked about. And they think it's okay to send us information in drips and dribbles. Here's a chapter. Well, here's an idea. Well, what if we did this? Oh, here's chapter 2 now. I'm sorry, no. Number one, it helps because Yvonne is such a big picture viewer. It helps her to see the entire book and read it and get an idea. That helps her build the cover. And I don't think Yvonne's ever told me that I need to change the title of one of my books.
I would
But
never do that.
sometimes, no, but there's sometimes another title. Well, like when I first told you that I wanted to write a story about Ramonda, that was before she came to me and said, okay, let's go, we got business to do. And I had in my head to call it one thing. I was going to call it Ramonda's Final Gift. And then I started thinking, no, it should be Ramonda's Best Gift. And then all of a sudden, she's whispering in my ear, extended warranty. What? Well, knowing what I know about her family now, and the way her daddy works on cars and things, it makes so much sense that Ramonda would talk about an extended warranty, because that's what she has done by giving her organs to 8 other people. She has extended their warranty through her selfless gift of life.
And she extended it for generations to
That
come.
was when I knew I had to change the title.
And she extended it
Yes.
for generations to come, so who knows how far that warranty will go. We have surpassed.
So sometimes we have to change the title midstream.
Yeah.
And Yvonne needs to read the entire book so she can get a good picture of the cover. But if she needs to, thinks we need to change the title, I know that when I was talking with Darlene J. Joe, she told me that she wanted to call her book not the real gift. I think she's just going to call it The Gift.
The perfect
There
gift.
must be 500 books on Amazon called The Gift.
Yep.
And she said, well, I can't do that. So she and her daughter brainstormed and came up with another idea. And that's how The Real Gift came about. And I will tell you, I didn't do that kind of research when I wrote Faith and Folly. There are other books out there by that name. There are other books named Steep Steps. A lot of them are the steep steps of Machu Picchu, or the steep steps to my heart, or the steep steps blah blah. But yeah, and then this is why our book covers are so important. We want the title to match the book cover, and we want the book cover to start the story of what's inside. And that's where Yvonne shines and excels. She can just envision the bigger picture. And as she's working on a book, she's thinking of how to market it. Especially the books that don't have, 32 images in them. She has to come up with something to catch attention.
And that's
So
the
she's always
important
working
thing.
on that.
Oh, and my mind never, my mind, Mary will tell you, my mind never stops. Never. Even when I'm trying to sleep, it does not stop. And there have been times in the middle of the night when I've gotten up and
It's
gone back to my
hard.
computer. It's very hard.
That doesn't happen often to me. I'm one of those. I'm an easy sleeper. Curtis has insomnia, and he has often told me, "I really am jealous of your ability to fall asleep as easily as you do." Last night I didn't sleep so well, and I was twisting and turning and flipping and flopping. And Curtis was watching television next to me, and he said, "What is wrong with you?" He said, "You never don't just fall asleep." I was literally moments away from getting out of bed and coming to my computer. And then sleep overtook, so I was able to go to sleep. But I've done that. I get up and I have an idea. Sometimes I can just write it down on a notepad. That's
There she
another
goes with
class.
another idea. Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking of different ways we can help writers be better writers, be more prolific writers. And you
And
know, we were talking yesterday about some of our idea people who love to send you, "Hey, I got an idea for a book." Well, I don't mind being a ghostwriter, but you're going to pay me for that.
exactly.
And if you want me to write your book, I'm going to put my name on it. But there are a lot of ways that we can help our writers move from the think tank into the author's gallery. And that's why we're doing these classes. We want to empower our indie writers and make them all feel like bestsellers.
Exactly.
And I can tell you, there are
Another. You can
yeah.
tell.
Well, I want to talk about what is a bestseller. I mean, you have the capability to now go on after 2 years, 2 years, but to go on your diagnostics and your reports. And I think you should find your bestseller at Midnight Publishing. I don't care if it's Yvonne Mason. It's probably going to be Andrea or Sherry. But I think you should announce the 2025, whatever year we're in, or 2024, best-selling author at Midnight Publishing.
We could do that.
You give me the name of who it was and which book it was, and I'll make the graphic for it.
Okay.
And we'll send them like a certificate of accomplishment.
But and the thing is, all of our authors are so accomplished, and it is so important, ladies and gentlemen, that y'all all understand. You are all winners, every one of you. Even those of you that sometimes I want to
Oh,
strangle,
the
you're all
minute
accomplished.
the, the minute that we give our book to you, the first time we give you our first book, we become a published author.
Yep.
With a publishing house. We accomplish so much more than a lot of people have ever dreamed of. I mean, there are people who will tell you, "I am a reader, I'm not a writer." Okay, fine. And Yvonne, you were with me when I was signing books a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, I was.
You saw the joy on their face because they all immediately opened the book to see what I wrote. I don't just write my name. I mean, yes, there are many authors out there who sell autographed copies and it just has their name in it. That's it.
Yep.
I put who it's to. I write an inscription, which is a little 1 or 2 sentence message. Then I sign it and I date it. But I also take another step farther and I emboss it with my logo. Yes, I have a logo. And every author can, doesn't need to, but you're welcome to have your own logo. That's just my personal preference. I just felt like it was time for me to make one. You will never get your books embossed by me unless you see me in person.
So that's
But the
another
people
reason.
watching me, yeah, the people watching me do this, they were in awe because they, it's like a subconscious knowledge. If you have published books and you're selling them at an event or just on Amazon, that's proof that you can complete a project. That's
Exactly.
proof that you can take a tiny, tiny spark of an idea and turn it into something. I don't have any of my books on the table, but you can turn it into something solid. You have the ability to tell a story. Everybody's not a storyteller. Everybody's not a plumber. Everybody's not a doctor. There are reasons that some of us do certain things and others don't. People tend to be in awe of authors. And this is one of the reasons why the indie authors were so maligned 20, 30 years ago. Because they thought that we were taking shortcuts. They thought that we were not willing to go through the process of the traditional publishing avenue. We had stories to tell that couldn't wait. We had stories that needed to get out exactly when they got out. And I've seen this over and over. A lot of people don't leave book reviews. I don't know why. I don't always leave book reviews because I'm busy writing my own books. But if you're a reader and you like an author's book, please go to Facebook if you, not Facebook, Amazon, if you bought it there. Because they won't let you leave a review if you didn't buy the book from them. Leave the book review. If you didn't like the book, say so. Tell us why. We want to learn, we want to know. The reviews help us and they help other readers find books that they want to read. You can go to Goodreads and leave a book review. You can go, I think, all author lets you do that, I don't remember. You can leave it on Facebook. Go to Midnight Publishing and leave a recommendation for a book. Maybe you don't know anybody personally that you've read our books. Find our Facebook or our Twitter or X or Instagram and leave us a note, leave us a comment that says, hey, I just read your book. And name the book.
Absolutely.
I get so much scam. Dear author, I came across your book the other day and I think it needs to get more visibility. Let me help you for only $799. Or the newest scam, I manage a book club. We have 15,000 members. It's all done online. We'd love for you to come and talk to our club members and tell us about your book. You know, that sounds great. I'd love to do that. Fine. It's only going to cost you $197 to pay for snacks. It's all done online, and you want me to pay for snacks for $197? Ding, 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 something's not computing up here. And that's another class we're going to do, the scammers and spammers. But to leave a book review, all you need is about 50 words, maybe not even that many if it's not done on. In fact, my sister probably left the shortest but most profound book review about Steep Steps. It wasn't what I expected. It was better. Jim is a hot mess. There's a talk show waiting for you. Okay, thanks, Jane.
Appreciate it.
My other sister has the book. She won't read it. She won't leave a review. That's just the way it is.
And the thing with book reviews, ladies and gentlemen, while we're on the subject before we close for the day, if that book does not appeal to you personally, that is fine. But understand this, as my mother taught me many, many years ago when I was in college at 52 and 53 years old, and I had to read a book that was written in the 1920s and do a book report on that I hated the book. My mother, the very wise woman she was, said, Yvonne, read it with an open mind. That's hard to do when you already have yourself super psyched up that this is what you're going to get out of it. I went back and I started the book over again. And I did what she asked me to do. I read the book with an open mind. There was so much in that book. And there was a lesson in that book. So even if you don't particularly care for the book, maybe you read with a closed mind, maybe you didn't understand the author's vision, artist perception, find your own vision in the book. Whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, do not attack that author personally, because if I'm attacked personally in a book review, I will stand that review and flip it up on its head. I will take and use that book review for my advantage. I've done it.
Oh, yes.
Stay open-minded. And it's like I used to tell my little one when she was in school, and she said, Mama, I just don't like that teacher. She don't like me, and I don't like her. And I said, Samantha, find one thing about that teacher that you like. Is it her smile? Is it the color of her hair? Is it what she wears? Is it the color of her lipstick? Find one small thing that you like and focus on that and let her know that's what you like about her, and the whole dynamic of your relationship will change. She did, and it did. So when you read a book, do not pick a book up with a preconceived notion of how you want this book to be. That's not the way books are written. Read the book with an open mind, because books are written for a mass market. Yeah, there's going to be some people that don't like the plot. They don't like that the hero was killed. They don't like the dress you wore to the ball. Those are minor things in the big picture. So read your books with an open mind. When I read that book written in 1920, it was about a woman who was married. And in that time period, the men could have affairs, women couldn't. And you stayed married no matter what. Her children were all grown. Her husband thought she was just a piece of the wood in the house and totally ignored her. She couldn't deal with the thought of a divorce, so she walked out into the ocean and drowned herself at their summer house. There was a story in that. There was a lesson in that. And so when I took a different route and a different perception, I got an A on the paper. Mary, you were going to say something.
Yeah. I have read other book reviews before buying a book, or even after I've bought a book, I'll go back sometimes to leave a review, and then I'll read somebody else's. And this is especially true with historical fiction or historical retellings. There's always going to be one or two history teachers or whatever who come back and blast the author because she got her history wrong, or because the retelling wasn't exactly true to history. Sometimes we don't have the full story. We have to fill in the blanks and make it up as we go. Um, but this one person really blasted the author, saying how inauthentic it was. It was a children's book, but for me, I read the book. It was about the Native American woman and then other subsequent women who were involved firsthand in the gold rush in the 1840s. A long time ago. Everybody knows that history is written by the victor. History is written by the man with the most money, typically. And history often overlooked women of the 1800s, especially women of color. And so we had this indigenous woman. She was connected. She was married to a white man, I think, but she was connected, and she started this prospecting. There were boom towns built by women who said, I don't want to go out into the wilderness and mine for gold. That's hard work. But I can make food and sell it to the miners as they come through town. So the book, when I read the book, I was in awe of these women because I am spoiled, I am pampered, I am of the 21st century, I have technology like nobody's business, and I'm also, these women weren't even able to vote. That's how far back this was. They were considered property. But reading this book made my heart proud to be a woman. How can I even complain about my life when these women were out there making a mark on the world physically? I'm making my mark in a different way. Was it completely accurate? I didn't know. But I didn't really care because the author had done what she wanted to do. She inspired little girls. That was her plan, was to inspire young women or children, especially little girls, to go for what they want. So here's this one person saying, oh, I give it a 1 star. I'd give it less if I could, but it's not accurate. Okay? Then this gives me the catalyst, the impetus, to go look up history and see what I can find out on my own. Everybody's not like me. Some people just like to be entertained. Be entertained. But when you write your review, give me the name of the author, give me the name of the book. Tell me one thing that why did you pick it up off the shelf? Why did you choose it? Did it live up to the hype? Okay. Was it well written? Despite the fact that you might not agree with the subject matter, or despite the fact that it doesn't have your happily ever after, did you learn anything? And you can say all that. You can make a tick list if you want to. And say, nope, oh yeah, this one worked. But like Yvonne said, don't put down the author. A lot of people like to put down the authors because they didn't have the courage to write the book themselves.
Very true. So with that, we have now been on this show for almost 2 hours instead of the hour and a half, but that's okay. We will, Lord willing, be back here next Wednesday. We did Tuesday because I have a very early morning airport run. And know that we are honored, we are humbled to be your publisher. Just let us do what we do because we know how to make the magic. Trust the process, trust us. Any parting words, my friend?
Bye.
So until next Wednesday at 10:30, we will say, have the day you all deserve. And we hope to see you back then. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye bye.